Hey guys, it is Joy, and welcome to Late Night Talk with Blind Joy. Yeah, it's dark in here, I think. I have the fireplace on, the gas fireplace, so you see the glow, I think, of the fire. It is Friday night, and well, now like Saturday morning is after midnight, and I was up and I just thought I would talk with you. I did a little video the other night of me eating soup in my kitchen in the dark, and some of you were like, oh, I want more of these, these late night talks, in the dark. And so I was like, oh, I'm just, up and not tired yet. So I would just sit and chat with you. Everyone else is in bed but me, the doggies included. But I'm a late night person. I have no light perception, right? So I am completely blind, and it is really hard for me to get to sleep. I guess I suffer from this sleep disorder called non-24 sleep-wake disorder. And yeah, it's hard for my brain to understand when it's time to sleep and when it's time to wake up, because I cannot see the light of day or the night of day, right? I have been on medication for that, and I've tried melatonin, I've tried so many things, and the medication I used to be on has stopped working for me. So now I'm searching for something else. So anyway, but yeah, I have so many new subscribers. I keep getting new subscribers, which I'm so grateful for all of you guys who are following me and my journey and my videos. You truly mean so much to me, and I'm so happy to have you here. I am truly so humbled, though, that you're wanting to be a part of my life. And I always tell people I am no different than you. I mean, you might be sighted and I am blind, but we're the same. And I really don't see my life being that different or that interesting, but apparently it is interesting to so many of you, and I love that. And my whole purpose in my channel is to, give insight into the world, give insight to the world on blindness, shed a new light, on blindness, or to shine a new light on blindness. And I love opening the eyes of the world to see it differently and beautifully. It's not like this horrible, awful thing that so many people dread, and they say it's like, oh, it's the end of the world if you lose your sight, and it's a death sentence. There's literally people who comment to me, I would rather die than go blind. And that's crazy, and it's so sad that people would say that. And my life is so beautiful. No, I can't see the glow of this fire. There's so many things, I cannot see. But honestly, through my loss of sight, God has opened the eyes of my heart to see the world in a much more beautiful way. And I would not trade my blindness for the most perfect eyesight in this world. I've truly have learned so much through my blindness, and it's made me who I am today, and it's changed me for the better. I am such a better person now with the loss of sight, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today with my videos. And I don't know, it's given me a love for people. I love you all so much. When I say I love you, I really do mean it. I love people, and it's taken away the judgmental views I used to have towards people, not in a bad way. Like, I wasn't judgmental in a bad way, but I mean, we're all subject to judging others, and going completely blind, it literally took that away. Like, I'm not distracted by what I see. And when I meet people, I really get to know you for who you are. for your heart, that inner beauty, and it is so incredible. And oh my gosh, that is probably one of the most beautiful blessings of my blindness, is that I just get to see people for who they are. Even that is, that may even be like, if a person is the most beautiful person on the outside and their heart is not so beautiful, they're rude, they're unkind, maybe they're judgmental people, right? I see that. And, and so it's kind of like really cool, because I get to see people truly for who they are. And I wish more of the world could see, just for one moment, could see life through my eyes, through blinded eyes. I think we would all be so much more kinder to one another. We would love people more. We would appreciate life more, So true. It's made me to be a better mom, a better wife, a better friend. So don't feel sorry for me. I never want people to ever, feel sorry and to, be like, oh, poor her. She can't see these things in life. She can't see her children. She can't see whatever I do see. I just see differently. And different doesn't have to be like worse or bad or a thing. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It just is different. My perspective has changed, and that has been just amazing to have that shift, in my views of life and in this world. So many people, though, have been asking me about my blindness and how I lost my sight. And so since I have so many new followers, new subscribers, and you might not know my story, I thought I'd just kind of like give you a little I won't go into too much depth, because I will be here all day long if I go take you far back into my past and go through everything that's happened. But I thought I'd kind of just tell you a little bit to give you kind of understanding of where I've come from, and what has happened to bring me to this place and time in my life, and creating these videos for all of you. I've only been completely blind for 11 years. I just came upon my 11th anniversary of being completely blind. I have been without light perception probably for 9 years. The first 2 years of the 11 years, I could see a little bit of light. I remember the first couple of years at Christmas time, if I was close to my Christmas tree, literally put the Christmas light up to my left eye, I could kind of see the glow. Or if I was lighting a candle, I could maybe see the flicker of the flame. And then that faded away pretty quickly, to the point now, like if you put a flashlight up to my eye and you turned it on, literally, I would not know. The only way maybe I would know it's on is if I felt the heat on my skin. But I have no idea. So it's been kind of fun with my girls over the years to like do these tests. All right, let's try this flashlight. Let's try this really powerful flashlight. Let's see if I can see it now. This is pretty crazy, but okay. So backing up a good bit. So I was not born blind. My parents discovered that there was something going on with my eyes when I was 3 years old. They noticed that I was squinting in the sunlight. I remember my mom was telling me one day she was driving and she looked over at me and the sunlight caught my eyes, and she noticed that my right eye looked more like dull, not as glossy and shiny as my left eye. And as soon as she noticed something was going on, they took me in to see an ophthalmologist. And long story short, after that day and then the next month of testing, more further testing, they discovered that I had this eye disease called uveitis. And uveitis is a form of arthritis. Most people know arthritis is a joint disease, right? That if, a lot of people think it affects just old people, but children can get arthritis as well. And my parents had no idea. It was not hereditary. No one in our family had ever been diagnosed with uveitis or juvenile arthritis. And so this was a complete shock to my parents. I remember when my parents, when they found out that I had this disease, the doctors actually told my parents that I would probably go completely blind, within the next few years. They thought there was not a lot of treatments for the disease back then. I was given oral prednisone steroids to fight the inflammation, steroid eye drops, and then the eye drops, because I was taking them so much, it caused cataracts, along with the disease itself, causing all this, all the damage, that they ended up having to do cataract surgery. At the age of 5, I had both of my natural lenses removed. I had 7 surgeries on my eyes between the age of 3 and 12. And they were just trying to do everything they could to save the little sight that I had left. And by this point, I had no sight in the right eye. And in my left eye, the best I ever remember seeing was like shapes and colors and movements in my left eye with, so like the big E on an eye chart, I guess. And even that wasn't clear. That was the best I remember seeing. The disease actually did affect my joints growing up and into my adult years. I've had it greatly affecting almost all my joints in my body. Fast forward through, my junior high school, college years. I met my husband, and I met him on a blind date. Haha. That's like the best part of our story. We met on a true blind date. No pun intended. Actually, it is a pun intended. We always have so much fun with that. And we were set up though, and it was magical and amazing. And he fell in love with Joy, and he knew I was partially blind and had the potential of going completely blind, and he still loved me and wanted to make me his wife. And he said he never saw my disability, my illness. He just saw Joy. And so after we were married, and my arthritis took a turn for the worst and became very ill, and I was on so many medications. He was giving me injections for my arthritis in my stomach twice a week. We found out I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, Isabella, at the same time. My arthritis was so severe, like in my joints. I couldn't hold things in my hands. I couldn't hardly walk. I had to drop out of college. It was a really bad time in my life. And fast forward, my arthritis, good news, it went into remission during my pregnancy with her, and that was just amazing. And she was my miracle. Isabella saved my life from all the pain I was going through. And then God gave us Georgiana in 2005, and I was just so blessed to be a mom and navigating parenthood, and with the limited eyesight I had and my arthritis, it was challenging, but we were figuring it out. And between my husband and I, we were an amazing team, and we definitely were figuring out how to live life, with 2 little girls, and life was going pretty well. And then my whole life completely changed at the end of December 2007. My sad story it was crazy. I lost my sight completely that Christmas in Disneyland. My husband and I were moving. Our girls were moved from Portland, Oregon to Texas, and we did a road trip, and we took the girls for the very first time to Disney to see their favorite princesses, and it was such an exciting time. It was Christmas, and I remember, when we walked into the park, and I could see the Christmas tree of Disney lit up, and like I said, I couldn't see details of any sort, but I could see lights. And when we were, the girls were meeting their favorite princesses, I could see like the color of the princesses' dresses to know like this was Cinderella versus this is Ariel, when we were up close. And so I got to see my girls with their favorite princesses, and they were 2.5 and 5. And then as we were walking through the park, this one day I started to notice that my sight in my left eye started to change and started to darken, and it was so weird. I've never experienced anything like this my whole life. And so I told George that something was wrong, something was going on, and my eye was uncomfortable, and I just tried my very best to ignore it. I thought it was just in my imagination. I just wanted to enjoy our time in Disney and then deal with this later if I needed to, and we left Disney, which was so wonderful. Ended up in Texas, had Christmas with my family there, and it continued to get worse. And right after Christmas, I went in to see a retina specialist in Fort Worth. And I remember this day, the doctor gave me the most devastating news. It was like a nightmare, like literally like a dream I was in. This doctor looked in my eye, and he sat back, and he says, "Joy, your retina is detaching." And I knew that was a possibility for my future with my eye disease. And I never knew that would ever happen. It was just one of those things that they always talked about, but I just always said to myself, oh, that will never happen to me. I'd lived with this sight, that limited sight, for all these years. It just seemed unreal that it would one day disappear. And he said, we have to have surgery and try to reattach the retina. If we don't, you're going to lose your sight. So we have to try. And my story kind of goes on to, that night, my husband and I, we talked, we prayed, we realized we had no other options. And, but I knew that if they operated on my eye, the eye was so fragile. I knew that, I couldn't lose it all overnight. Just in that day, I knew that the surgery could end up causing me complete blindness. And talk about fear, talk about sorrow. I remember that night before surgery. I can remember this right now. I was in my girls' bedroom, and I was looking at them. And I remember Isabella has the most beautiful big blue eyes, and I couldn't see them afar or even a foot away from her. I literally would get like eye to eye with her in the bright light, and I could see a beautiful bright blue, but I couldn't see pupils or anything like that, or veins, or blood vessels, but I could see a bright big blue eyes, and Georgiana had the biggest brown eyes and the cutest little dimple and their beautiful hair. And I just remember that night, just as they were sleeping, just staring at them and memorizing every little part of them, because I knew that there could be a chance that I might not ever see them with my eyes again after that night. I had the surgery, and after a couple of days after surgery, they removed the patch, the bandage, and I was so terrified to open my eye. And I remember peeking kind of through the corner of the bandage before we removed it, and I could see light. And I was pleasantly surprised that I kind of could see. Wasn't great. It wasn't as good as it used to be, but I was just so happy that I could kind of see a little bit. I couldn't really make out my girls great, like I did before, but in the right light and, and up close, I could kind of see them, and I was so happy just to have that. Well, my excitement quickly turned to tears. My sight started to disappear. Within that first week after surgery, everything just started to fog up. Literally like fog up, like if you're in a shower and your window, your mirror is getting all clouded over. That's what was happening. And I was terrified. And the doctor, we rushed back in, and they said my pressure in my eye had dropped to 0. My eye was not producing fluid, and it needed internal pressure to survive. And I had a lot of inflammation, and I was on all these medications. They were doing injections of steroids in my eye, trying to get the pressure up, trying to save the eye, and ended up going back in and having another surgery on the eye, and they put silicone oil inside of the eye, and that was just horrible. And nothing worked, and so I literally saw my world fade away within just a week to the next week. To the next week, it all started to completely disappear. So I lost the ability to see my babies. That was the hardest thing, was trying to look at them and trying to find them. Searching in the light to see them, and I would hold them, and they would be smiling so big. Smiling, and I could feel them, their smiles in my hands, and I was just trying to squint and turn my head in all directions to try to see them. And I couldn't. The next part of my journey, I was just going through grief, depression. I had just lost, the person who I once was, and I was struggling to find joy again. Joy as the wife and mom I once was, and to find joy, like my true happiness. And, how am I going to be the mom I once was? And, all these things that I had limited sight before. It was like literally, even though it was limited sight, I'd learned how to use it so well. Losing that limited eyesight was like losing the most perfect eyesight, because it was all I've ever known. And I lost it all so quickly overnight. And I was having to figure out, how am I just going to do the simplest of tasks, taking care of my girls. How am I going to do it all? It was a very dark, literally a dark time in my life. And then our story goes on to, during this first couple of months of 2008, me trying to find my joy again, and just struggling to live every day and be a mom. Like we noticed our oldest daughter Isabella was limping on her ankle. And we took her in, ran x-rays, blood work, thought her ankle was sprained maybe, and I knew what was wrong. And we came to the conclusion that Isabella, doctor said, your daughter has juvenile arthritis. The same disease that I have had since I was 3 years old. Started her on injections, chemotherapy, biological drug injections my husband was giving her. He was also giving them to me for my arthritis and my eye disease. And just a few months after she was diagnosed, my baby Georgiana, at the age of 3, was diagnosed with uveitis. So all of us girls within that year had such life-changing, just disappointments. I mean, it was a discouraging time, in our life, and my husband was the rock for all of us to stay strong. He was the glue that kept us together. He was, our nurse. He nursed us, in our health, and gave us our injections and medications, and just had to stay strong for us because I was weak. My girls were scared. But my girls in that moment gave me the strength to fight back and to find that strength deep within, and to truly call on God and to lean on God for strength. And I've always been a woman, a little girl from a very young age who loved loved the Lord, just followed God with my whole heart. And but this was a time in my life where I'm like, oh God, how could this be happening? How could you allow this to happen to me, and not just to me, but to my girls? And so it was a time where I'm just like searching and asking God for help to understand, like I've lived a good life, and I've, done my very best to please Him and everything I said and did, and then to be given, this life with not just me losing my sight, but my girls going through their challenges. And but I just in that moment just decided with my husband, as a family, we decided to continue to have faith and to believe and to not give up hope. And so we did. I just changed my thoughts and my attitude and my perspective towards the situation, and we continued to move forward. And then my journey goes on to getting Antonia, my retired guide dog who just passed away, my guiding angel, yellow lab, and she changed my life, and oh my gosh, completely changed my life. She was the key to my freedom, the key that gave me hope for my future without eyesight, and she helped me to be joyful again, and to be the mom that I once was, and the wife. And oh my goodness, I know God sent her to me, this angel, to truly to put me on the path, the bright path to my future. I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for Antonia. Of course, in my family, I couldn't have made it. I couldn't have made it this far. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of take you a little bit in the past to show you, where I've come from, and and then my journey continues. There's so much more of my story that has shaped and molded me. I've gone through chronic pain beyond the arthritis, with infections that have almost claimed my life, staph infections, where I was hospitalized 8 times, was on narcotics, 480 milligrams of Oxycontin a day, oxycodone, methadone, fentanyl. I was on so much. I lost 3 years of my life, from Georgiana's kindergarten year to the end of her 2nd grade. I literally was housebound and with infections and hospitalized, and literally drugs have taken over my life and pain. Oh my goodness, my story is so much more than just my blindness. I do there is such gratefulness for the pain that I've gone through and have endured during those years, because it gave me perspective about my blindness. It was worse. It was hell on earth. And going through that, it was just like, okay, I could handle blindness, but the pain of these infections was unbearable. And it was causing me, with all the narcotics, it was causing me to not be able to live my life. And I asked God, I said, God, if you could bring me through this hell I'm living in, through these infections, get me off these drugs, then God, I will not ever complain about my blindness. I will live my life with such joy. And I will live each and every day to bring hope to others who are suffering, who are going through pain. I said, God, please give me the ability and the strength to fight through this pain, just so I could get out of my house and I could start talking and sharing what I've gone through to help somebody else in need. And that's what we did. That's what I began doing as soon as I was well enough. On December 2012, God answered my prayers, and I was strong enough I was healed from my infections, and I still was living with blindness and arthritis, and my girls were living with arthritis, but I was like, this is good. I can get out of my house, and I, we'll figure out the rest of it. We'll figure out how to navigate through all of that. But I was over the worst part of my journey, and at that point, and God did so much work in my heart and my mind, and I had a purpose. I had a big and great purpose in my life, and that is what has led me to here, to what I'm doing today in my YouTube channel, and sharing my life so openly with you all. And my joy that I have, it is come from going through so much pain. Joy is a choice. I always say, joy is more than my name. It's more than something you feel when things are going good. Joy is a choice. And I had to make that choice. That day when my girls were needing me the most, when they were diagnosed, I began choosing joy. I began choosing how I was going to see my circumstance. People say seeing is believing, but I have learned that believing is seeing. And as soon as I started to believe, my future was going to be bright, even without eyesight, I knew as long as I had my husband, my girls, my guide dog, Antonia at that time, of course, God on my side, I knew all things were possible. I just had to believe. And that faith, that amazing faith, has kept me moving forward. And anyway, and that faith is just is continuing every day to keep me, making videos and inspiring you through my challenges, because I still face challenges every single day. Just the simple things that you take for granted in life, are challenging for me, and I never gripe or complain. It's my life. I've learned how to adapt and to overcome, and but every day, every step I take is a step of faith. But I know that through my challenges and me posting about them and doing these videos about them, it's encouraging others. And as I'm encouraging you, you continue to encourage me. You inspire me to keep moving forward. And that's really what life is all about. I call it like the circle of hope. I inspire you. You inspire me. And I believe God wants, each one of us to keep, inspiring others around, and others around ourselves, wherever we are, wherever you are, wherever you go, to inspire others. It doesn't have to be on a big platform, but in some small way, encourage others, even though you're struggling maybe through something. Just when you reach out and help somebody else in need, it's like medicine for your own soul. In return, you are blessed, and it brings you joy to know that you help somebody else, and then that gives you strength for the next moment, the next hour, the next day, month, and years to come. And so thank you so much for inspiring me. You've all changed my life, and I love you with all my heart, and I am excited to see where we go from here. In this YouTube family, you're part of my family, and I'm excited to see. Literally, I'm excited to see. I have great visions for my life and for my future. I always say you don't have to have eyesight to have vision. So I'm excited to see where we go from here, and so happy that you're a part of it, a part of my journey. So if you have any questions about anything, my life, please comment, and I will try to always get back to you. I always do my best to reply to as many people as I possibly can. And I reply through my voiceover on my phone. It speaks to me, and I use finger swipes and voice dictation to reply to you. And that all takes time. So if you get a comment from me, just know that it took a lot of effort for me. And if I don't reply to you, I usually will heart your comment to let you know that I appreciate it, and I read it, and I'm so grateful that you took the time. So, but anyway, I'm going to go to bed now. I think I'm getting sleepy. But I love you guys, and you guys mean so much to me. All right, I will talk to you on the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you want to see or hear more stories from me. But this was just, kind of a little background on my life and on my story. So anyway, love you. Talk to you guys soon. All right, good night. Mwah.